Hello everyone and welcome to the all-new 2026 Toyota CHR. This is the top spec XSE trim. There's only two trims actually available right now. And this is an interesting new entry-level electric vehicle from Toyota. They are focusing on a lot of hybrids and combustion vehicles still, but they are having an EV lineup. It may not be the most highly advanced EVs on the market, but this is more affordable and pretty feature-packed for the price point, and it can also be had in Subaru form. There's the Subaru Uncharted, which is the same vehicle as this particular all-new CHR, and the very odd thing that the two brands have decided to do is give Subaru the front-wheel drive variant, which you can also get all-wheel drive on the Subaru, and the Toyota one is all-wheel drive only. I would personally expect that to be flipped, just knowing the history of the brands, but that's how it is. So if you actually want the cheaper variant of this exact car, you can go to a Subaru actually. But this all-new CHR is generally pretty cool looking, I think, from the exterior. Very familiar interior stuff, but definitely go have a watch at our full tour and review for all of that stuff here. We're gonna go take this out on a drive right now and enjoy this unique vehicle. So we have our very familiar shifter over here. We have reverse, neutral is hold down, drive, forward, of course. In reverse and drive, you can access your full 360 camera here. When you press view, so you have a whole bunch of different views. You can have it automatically come on as well, and pretty good clear resolution on there, which is great. Now this one does have a shorter wheelbase than, let's say, the Toyota BZ, for example. You can hear this beeping sound in reverse, which all of these Toyota EVs do. But I want to have a quick look here to see if the turning radius is a little bit better in this one than it is in the BZ, for example, with this shorter wheelbase here. So we are in a parking lot, slow speed, full lock. That's a pretty decent turning radius, I would have to say. I don't know if we can do a full circle right now, but we're going to find out. And the driving impressions of this vehicle, as we'll hop into in a second, are generally really tuned for daily overall comfort, and definitely over any sort of handling or dynamics. As you can see around town over here, we're starting off in just normal mode. You have an eco mode and a snow mode. That's it. There's no sport mode offered in this vehicle. I don't think it needs a sport mode though whatsoever. Overall, starting off driving right now, you can see we have a pretty decent amount of visibility all around us as well. We don't have a digital rear view camera though. That's really more exclusive to those more expensive vehicles, a little bit larger. And the suspension is pretty soft. Again, definitely tuned for comfort. It soaks up bumps pretty well. It's generally pretty quiet in this cabin at lower speeds. And you don't get regenerative braking on this architecture at all. So none of the vehicles actually have, one pedal driving. You have regenerative braking paddles here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of regenerative braking, but it will not bring you to a full complete stop like a one pedal drive style experience here. Let's test out our acceleration with our 338 horsepower. Whoa. Yeah, this thing is not slow whatsoever. And how they split up this all-wheel drive system in this particular EV is interesting. So the front motor is actually making more power than the rear motor in this case. So as you just saw right there, we lost a little bit of some traction on the front wheels just because there's so much instant torque going to this powertrain at once. So it's definitely quick, and it's a lot lighter than I would say a lot of some other rivals as well. So you kind of notice that. But all of this, strong power doesn't always make for necessarily a fun, engaging driving experience. This is, again, meant for a more dailyable commuting experience in this all-new Toyota CHR. It handles bumps well, decent visibility around you. You have your storage, you have a decent amount of commutable range, and there are 270, 280 mile figures there, depending on your wheel size and, of course, driving experience. But in the handling department, it kind of feels like every other Toyota, and not in a bad way. It just doesn't handle very, very well. So for example, coming to this corner here, lots of body roll and lean. You can definitely notice that there. I would say that all new Nissan Leaf had a little bit more of a composed handling experience than this CHR. But you still have that really strong instant power coming out of every kind of turning and corner situation there, which is really great, especially in traffic. You do have an eco mode, which really kind of just, you know, lightens up the throttle tuning there of the accelerator pedal, so it's just not as aggressive than in normal mode, but you still have that really strong surge of power in pretty much all driving scenarios, which is actually pretty nice of an experience. And then that's your standard power output in this vehicle, which is cool. Now on the highway here, you can kind of hear a little bit more road noise than in round town situations. So I'm primarily hearing this from the window side of it and some from the lower floor area and the lower door panels. The floor obviously is a battery pack, so that is, you know, kind of isolating a lot of sound there, but you can still hear some tire and some stuff noise coming in there. Not really a necessary wind noise around the upper portions of the cabin until you get into some higher highway speeds. I've noticed a little minor wind buffeting from the little mirror areas over there, but that is really about it. It's generally pretty quiet, and that's something you're going to want in an EV because you don't have no engine sound. You're not going to be hearing that, so you want to have a little more emphasis on comfort and quietness here. Now we are getting quite a few of some highway driving assistance functionalities in this XSE trim that are pretty impressive actually for this class of vehicle. So once we get out onto the highway here, I'll have a test of those for you. But we do get, you know, pretty standard stuff like blind spot warning. We have front cross traffic warning as well. So you have a lot of safety systems here for you. And accessing your adaptive cruise is very easy, just like in all other similar products that have this interior button layout. We press our button on the right hand side and adaptive cruise mode is active. Voila, it's that easy. And you can adjust your speed adjustment right there as your distance adjustments as well. This one's also getting this driver monitor over here that you can sort of disable in the settings, and we have steering and lane centering assist. So it technically is, you know, taking control of the driving experience, but it's not a hand-free system unless you're in the traffic jam assist functionality, which works, like, I believe, under 25 miles per hour. And then you can have, as long as you're looking forward, you kind of have this sort of traffic jam assistant feature there. But I believe that needs to have the connected services package activated to use that. So definitely keep that in mind if you want to keep this vehicle long term, and that subscription may or may not end or not there. But we also get a fun feature, which is the auto lane change assist functionality. So if I turn on my lane change here, as long as my hand's somewhat touching the steering wheel, it will do an automatic lane change assist there, which is pretty cool of a feature to have in an entry-level EV. I think that's a pretty nice touch. Is it a necessity? Absolutely not, but it's a cool gimmick to have in this vehicle for sure. Now, some other just nitpicks in here, and we've talked about this in our full tour review, is this screen, as you can see right now and how I have my steering wheel, it's kind of blocking like pretty much half of the screen. These Subarus have a different steering wheel where it's flat bottoms on both the top and the bottom of the steering wheel, and it actually allows for a little bit of a better view of that display. Toyota is sticking with a circular route though, so that's one of the interesting differences there to keep an eye out for. But as you can see, it's kind of difficult to see the lower portions of this display. We'll have another lane change assist for us right now, just to prove it does work, which is nice. And otherwise, everything else is pretty easy to, you know, control and touch in here. Again, you sit really high in this vehicle, which, as I mentioned in our full tour review, may hamper your headspace if you're taller than 6 feet. But visibility, again, is great. Ease of access from controlling things in the, you know, infotainment screen over here. And you do have a voice assistant as well, so I could say, change my ambient light color to red.
Setting ambient lighting to red.
So you can do that with this voice assistant, or what's the weather outside?
Sorry, you have to be subscribed to connected services to use weather feature. To learn more about what you can ask.
So, as you can see, if you don't have the internet connectivity package, which you should get as standard in a new Toyota vehicle if you're buying new, even though it does expire after a few years, you can't use a lot of these fun features, or even your built-in navigation system, for example. So definitely keep that in mind if you're not someone that uses Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. If you want to use the built-in systems, you're going to have to pay extra for that as well. Now, I do want to give you guys a quick little test of this JBL upgraded 9-speaker audio system here, because as we experienced in the Toyota Prius, which I'm very certain has a very similar JBL system to this particular one, I'm not the biggest fan of it for an upgraded system. I have not heard the base system on the CHR, but it isn't the best sounding system. The Subarus get like a Harman Kardon style system, which I know JBL, Harman Kardon, all the same company, but they do sound a little bit better actually. So have a listen to this real quick. We have a physical volume knob here as well as on our steering wheel. And what I'll have to say about it is it's generally a okay audio system. Premium, I wouldn't say it's a premium audio system. If you kind of get higher in the audio levels, it gets really washed out, and depending what songs you're listening to, I've noticed it does kind of get a little bit washed out. The bass and the mid levels are a little bit all over the place in some areas there, but it's, I guess I'm assuming it would be a little bit of a better system than the entry-level system in this Toyota CHR. But, you know, that's not really the main point of this vehicle. It's not a luxury car. It's an entry-level electric vehicle from Toyota, and it really does stand out very strongly, I think, in the looks department. Feature-wise, you're getting everything in here. You're not really missing out on stuff. It's just some of those more nitpicky things that you may like or dislike, such as not having a glove box, for example. And the general space in here is definitely on the tighter side. I've noticed in my own personal experience driving this vehicle over the course of this week. Range, I would say, is okay for this class. I would love for it to have hit that 300-mile marker with the all-wheel drive, but as I mentioned, if you want that 300-mile, you have to go for the Subaru, and you have to go for the front-wheel drive, which I'm not too sure, again, why Toyota is not offering a front-wheel drive entry-level version of this all-new Toyota CHR. We also do have things like auto brake hold at the stoplight here, so I can press that on, which is also a great, nice feature. Though one good saving grace I would say about this vehicle and a lot of the Toyota EVs is they aren't outrageously expensive, and since, you know, they aren't the hottest selling vehicles in the market, a lot of them still come new with a little bit of some discounts at dealerships. So I would also take that into consideration. This may end up being an overall better buy than maybe a Toyota Corolla Cross or something in that aspect. If you're looking for an EV that's smaller size, not super big, and if you do need something that's a little bit bigger, you can go straight to the Toyota BZ, which is pretty much the exact same vehicle, just stretched out a little bit more as well. So thank you guys for joining us on a drive and review of this all-new Toyota CHR for 2026, and definitely make sure to follow and subscribe for all more reviews and car news coming down the road. Cheers.